Color swatching doesn't have to be boring. It can actually be a lot of fun and a chance to get creative and let yourself loose in the process. That's why I've come up with 5 ways to create color swatches that might make you feel more inspired and free with your art. Welcome back. I'm Christine, this is Mike. If you've got some art supplies that you've been waiting to bust open, go grab them right now while I grab mine. Today I'm testing out these acrylic paint markers that Artxx has kindly gifted me for an honest review. As soon as I opened them, I was hit with the smell of fresh plastic, but it went away after a few minutes. They also came with these. I have to apply these stickers to each marker so I can accurately label them when I'm swatching. Nailed it. So if you're a perfectionist, look away because apparently this was extremely challenging for me. I had a hard time applying the stickers and I even lost one. So let's move on to the actual sketchbook they sent me. I like the size, and according to this insert, paint won't bleed onto the other side. We'll see about that. The first color swatching idea is a stained glass window. This is the easiest one on the list, and it's an excellent way to create a colorful sketchbook spread and color swatch at the same time. I started with a star and I tried to divide it into 60 sections, which would equal the number of markers that I need to swatch. Next, I colored each section with the individual markers. As you finish each section of markers, don't forget to label each section with the number so you can reference it later. Sometimes the hardest part of working in my sketchbook is coming up with ideas. I just don't know what to draw, which is why I enjoy the idea of creating images that can be filled in by swatching colors. It's kind of like making your own coloring book, but you're keeping it simple. It takes away the scariness of trying new materials, and it gives you another fun way to enjoy yourself in the process. Did I mention that this is the perfect time to just play around in your sketchbook without being perfect? I probably should, because mine is far from perfect. I was having fun mindlessly filling in my stained glass design until I opened marker number 38. Oh, what is this? This is disappointment. I thought I could fix it by squeezing the nib back into the marker, but that didn't work. It's dead. I might be cursed because it seems like every product I get from a company, there's always a dud in the box. I finished swatching the remaining colors and I'm not that impressed. These acrylic markers feel a little cheap because I'm used to paint markers feeling thick and bulky. I do love the variety of colors, and the paint itself is similar to Posca pens, only without the fear of the pen exploding all over my page. My real disappointment is with marker number 38. However, the good news is that Artxx sells individual markers on their website. You just need to purchase a minimum of 5 markers, so if you do run out of one of these colors, you don't have to buy the entire set. I'm not sure if they carry every single color that comes in this set, but I'm sure you could find something that's close if one of your markers does run out. I have good news! Marker number 38 is saved. My husband figured out how to make the marker work. He popped off this piece on the back with his teeth and he poured a little bit of water into it. And voila, it works. So now my stained glass is complete. Moving on to the second color swatching idea, this one is for my book enthusiasts. Start by creating simple rectangles on your page. Each rectangle will be a book, and each book is a different color swatch. This time I decided to swatch in a way that looked aesthetically pleasing. I wanted to make something cute. Then, once all of the swatches are filled in, I immediately ruin everything with a large thick outline using a Sharpie. Okay, I'm just kidding. Large chunky line work is just part of the fun. I had to use the Sharpie because it's difficult for me to control the brush tip on these Artxx acrylic markers. I have a death grip on everything, and you can't see it in this video, but because I'm gripping my art supplies so tight, my hands also get sweaty. So I'm always really clumsy with my tools, and I'm just learning. I'm trying to figure out a way to work with it. This brush tip is just not helping the situation. Turning the color swatch into an illustration is a fun way to try out new art supplies while being creative. It's also a great idea for creating a unique spread in your sketchbook. Don't forget, this is the type of idea that you can come back and add to it later. So don't worry if you run out of ideas or are struggling to come up with drawings to fill this spread. If you find an interesting object that you want to draw later, instead of putting it on a new page, you can add it to this sketchbook spread. For this next idea, I'm going to use my least favorite colors because, well, everything can't be purple. I wanted to test the black, so I'm coloring a huge portion of this, and it looks a bit streaky. I also want to see how colors like yellow and red look on top of it. Which brings me to idea number 3. This is a night sky, and balloons are floating away peacefully. I drew a bunch of balloons together and colored each one using a different marker. If you haven't guessed, the balloons are the color swatches. I used my least favorite colors because I had to test them too. They just needed a little bit of love. Some of these Artxx acrylic paint markers aren't 100% opaque, but I noticed that they were picking up some of the color underneath when I was layering them on top of each other. This was pretty annoying because I was constantly trying to clean the tips of my markers. The black was making a few of the colors look muddy, and I had to let a few areas dry completely before going back in with another color. As usual, I got carried away and grabbed my micron pen to draw in clouds and add more details, turning this into more than a color swatch test. But I wasn't done yet. I decided to have fun by adding shades of gray to the clouds and stars to the black background to make this a little more special. And you know what? I like it. I added a little color chart with the colors I used off to the side for reference, and this page was done. I let my imagination wander a little bit, and you can too. And when you're ready, let's move on to idea number 4. This is where we get really playful, so get ready to have some fun. It's time to create a water fountain. I started this by creating a simple little illustration of the fountain, and once that was complete, I started to shade it using scribbles. Originally, I wasn't trying to scribble, but I felt like my lines looked sloppy, so I just went with it. Once I scribbled in the base layer, I grabbed a thicker micron pen and I added more shadows. I even grabbed an Artxx marker to color the fountain in. It's time for the color swatching. I decided to draw some fun doodle shapes for the water and colored them in using the order of a rainbow. It's a little funny because this looked completely different in my head. And once again, I was inspired to keep going. I thought if I kept adding more details and color, it would look a little bit more like the image in my head. But I think at this point, it doesn't matter. When I was finally happy with everything, which was about an hour later, I labeled each color swatch and I moved on to the next idea. If you're like me and you can't help yourself and you want to keep adding more and more layers, this idea is for you. I'm drawing a lion, and the unique thing about this lion will be the mane. Yep, you guessed it, we're turning the mane into color swatches. But here's the best part. I want you to start by trying to swatch each color as a different section of fur. But after that layer is complete, I want you to continue to draw different lines and shapes, one on top of each other until all of the colors look cohesive. So that means if you have a lot of blue on the bottom, draw in some blue on the top. Too much yellow on top, bring some of it into the bottom. When you're ready, let's work on defining the lion again by adding some black outlines. I've been enjoying these Artxx markers even though I think the brush tip is a little difficult to use. But I think the biggest win is the Sketchbook. I really like this size and its ability to lay flat. Plus, the markers don't bleed through the page. I chose a lion for this example because the mane is flowy and forgiving. The purpose of this idea is to forget that you were color swatching in the first place and start to play with all of the colors at your disposal to create a fun and unique piece in your sketchbook. It's a great opportunity to loosen up, make marks, be free, and experiment. You can make this as simple or complex as you like. You can also alternate between the black and white sketch and the colorful mane, which is exactly what I did here. When I got tired of working on the mane, I worked on the lion's face, and when I felt like that was too much, I added more to the mane. I even used some of my colorful ballpoint pens to add simple strokes and details. The message that I want to leave you with today is that art is fun. Something as simple as color swatching has the power to inspire your next masterpiece or a simple sketchbook spread. Another powerful tool for inspiring creativity is our emotions. So make sure you check out this video next, and I'll see you there. Oh, we'll see you there.